This is Ghosts of History. Tonight, we drift into 1348, into plague waters, into fog, into ships no port would welcome. Close your eyes. The wind is gentle, the waves are slow. We begin with 12 sails and a silent sea. The 1340s were already unkind. Floods had drowned the harvest, wolves returned to the edges of villages, and travelers came bearing rumors. From far away, lands most had never heard of, whispers arrived before the plague did. But it wasn't until 1347 that ships brought something no one could ignore. They looked normal, no damage, no distress, but they were too quiet. Dockhands noticed first, no shouts, no greetings, just sails drifting in, and the sound of rats. By 1348, they had names: death ships. October 1347, Messina, Sicily. The port bell rings. 12 ships arrive, Genoese merchants. But what they carried was not cargo. The city watched in silence as crewmen fell on the docks. Some spoke gibberish. Some collapsed mid-sentence. Their skin black with boils, their eyes sunken, yellowed. Within hours, the plague spread ashore. The city panicked. The mayor ordered the ships pushed back to sea, but the rats had already left. What happened next is often forgotten. The ships were not destroyed. They floated to Naples, to Marseille, to Tunis. Each port turned them away. Survivors on board grew fewer and fewer. They had no food, no water. Some tried to throw infected bodies into the sea, but the disease did not stop. One captain wrote in his journal, "The rats fear nothing. They feast by the lantern light." Eventually, no entries remained, but the ship still moved. Mariners speak of the sea like a memory. It doesn't forget where it's been. Fishermen off the coast of Provence claim to see unmanned vessels, lanterns swinging, whispers in the fog. A monk in Marseille wrote, "We prayed from shore, but the ship did not drift. It waited." Locals said those ships had mines. They followed the coast, never docking, until finally they faded in the morning light. Were they real or fever dreams? Even as ports turned away the ships, the disease spread. Why? The rats. They carried fleas. The fleas carried death. At night, the rats left the ship, climbed ropes, hid in grain. The ships didn't need to dock. They only needed to pass by. By 1349, over 25 million had died. But the ships kept floating. Ghosts carrying more ghosts. Stories from sailors that survived vary wildly. One claimed to hear music. The plague reached Paris, then London, then the Nordic fjords. But not every place was infected by land. Some only saw the ships. Denmark reported phantom vessels in fog banks. Villagers in Cornwall swore that sails would appear just after sundown and vanish before dawn. In Malta, a chapel was built for sailors lost to the plague. They still light candles for them each October. One monk wrote, "The sails pass in silence. The sea does not ripple. The dead are patient." By 1350, the ships were no longer seen. Some believe they were sunk deliberately. Others say they beached somewhere remote. A few claim the ships still exist at the bottom of the sea, Divers near the island of Lampedusa report hearing sounds beneath the waves, a low bell, the creak of wood, and scratching like nails on the inside of a coffin. One diver returned pale and silent. He abandoned the trade. He told his wife only one thing. There were still footprints on the deck. You're floating now. Your breath is steady. The sea is calm. Let us return to those final hours of the ghost fleet. The fog thickens. The lanterns sway. You hear voices, soft, distant, not threatening, not cruel, just lost. They say if you listen just right, you can hear the last prayers of the men aboard. Latin, French, Arabic, Greek, all languages, all souls, bound by wood, water, and the weight of history. Rest now. The wind is gone. The sea is glass. You are safe. Far from the Black Sea, far from the rats, far from the dark bells. Let the waves rock you to sleep. Let the fog close around you like a blanket. And remember, the past cannot touch you unless you open the wrong door.